you are a songwriter with singer as well, and I remember doing a puts in a hypothetical question. If you had an opportunity, so Suge Knight offers you a record deal, Diddy
Mm-hmm.
offers you a record deal, um, Birdman, Cash Money comes and offers you a record deal, and I do wonder if there's anyone else that you can think of.
Wait, you said okay. You said Diddy,
Diddy,
Birdman, and who else?
Suge
Master P,
Knight, Suge Knight,
Suge Knight.
yeah, or even Gene Griffin. If any of those
Oh, you
four,
trying to get me? You trying to get me hung over the balcony
no,
somewhere? What's going on?
Suge's
I'm gonna
in
be.
jail, and Diddy's not into it anymore. Gene's passed sadly, and Birdman.
Gene, no, keep them in there. It doesn't matter if they're passed or
Yeah,
not. They could be in it.
so I mean, but if you
Um,
thought to those four executives and they said, "Come on, here's a record deal," who, knowing what you know about everyone, who do
uh,
you go with?
oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna go with Diddy. I'm gonna roll my dice and go with Diddy because because I'm a singer and a songwriter, and
Okay.
Diddy has had the most, probably the most. Well, I'm gonna say the most success, but he has had big success in R&B with Faith and 112 and Mary J. Blige and Jodeci to some
Yeah,
extent.
total. Yeah, yeah.
So he knows how to market and he knows how to create stars when it comes to R&B. All of the other names you mentioned, Master P, Birdman, Suge Knight, they don't have any success with any R&B. So just for that alone, I'm gonna choose Diddy, but I'm gonna
Hmm.
keep my eye on that money. I'm not signing to his publishing company. I mean, but the thing is, people don't understand. Sometimes when you don't sign that publishing contract and all that stuff, they don't want to sign.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have that thing. So if I have to sign away my music publishing or something, I'm gonna have to definitely hire me an acting agent or somebody that can find me acting work or other things to build up another career as a
Yeah,
a backbone.
yeah, yeah.
But I would definitely go with Diddy because I mean, people say what they say about Diddy, but Diddy has been successful at what he does as far as making stars. And I mean, he turned a group like Total into he's given them hits and stardom. Um, and Suge, I don't know. I think Suge. I don't know. I don't know that I like Suge though. I like what he's able to do. I think that some of that gangster stuff it kind of overshadowed everything else. And I think because we had a conversation about this, earlier about they probably had to have such a hard image and just a reputation because they were dealing directly with the white executives that are probably equally as gangster. So we don't
Yeah.
know what's going on behind those scenes because you're dealing like Suge Knight is small money compared to Doug Morris or Jimmy Iovine
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or even
You know,
what's the guy name
Clive Davis.
Lyor Cohen,
Yeah,
all
like
of those people. Like yeah,
yeah,
Clive
Clive
been doing it
Davis.
since the
Yeah,
'60s, so
yeah.
Clive ain't nobody
Sylvia
to mess
Rome.
with. So you got to have a little bit of backbone. You got to have a little gangster to you to deal directly with those people because they're expecting results. And I think a lot of times they probably did. This is my opinion. I don't know if it's true, guys. So this is my opinion. I think a lot of times with those labels, those white execs are getting that money. I think that that's what's going on. I think that like when you had the TLC situation, I don't think that that was Pebbles getting that money. I think that was I thought Clive Davis probably got that money. That's why, if you remember that story, Left Eye went up to the label with a gun or allegedly, and demanding her money.
Mm.
So a lot of times that's why they write such certain contracts to get the money out of the artist. They're getting the money that or the different things, the certain shady tactics they're doing is because they're really not making the money themselves. They're giving the money out to somebody else. They probably been given something up front. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if I'm making that make sense, but
Yeah,
I
because
think that with
yeah,
Suge Knight, for example, I think that there was probably other people behind the scenes that was making a lot of money off of Death Row. You know,
yeah, and I hate, but
but
so I remember, when interviewing 112, and Mike said, "Look, Arista will give Bad Boy $1 million for the next 112 album, but then that $1 million, then Bad Boy will take its cut, then the production company who they were signed to, who was also their manager, would take a
Mhm.
big cut. Then they'll be
Right.
left with less than 100,000 to do the album. But then when the albums are sold, they have to give back that 1 million before they can see anything. So they that's how the production company was taking the money from there, but they're still owed to that. And hence they said when they went directly to Def Jam, they there was no middleman there. They got more money than they'd ever seen. I do think that somebody like, I think a lot of people see the images of a Suge, and people talk about Diddy. I've not interviewed anyone, and I've interviewed four bad boy farm artists. None of them have said, "Oh, we didn't make any money from Diddy." Well, they didn't mention Diddy or anything like that. Maybe they
Okay.
did, but they never.
No, of course they're
Yeah,
not.
they've
They're
never
not.
come
I mean,
out to say that he
you don't
took our
speak
money or
against
anything
people
like that.
that's powerful.
Yeah,
But
they
yeah,
never
but
there.
no,
They
go
never
ahead.
they're there. But one of the things that you're right about, say something like Suge, is because people do not know, if you learn about the music industry and learn about people
Mhm.
like, Clive Davis is quite popular because he was, everyone knows Whitney Houston and remember Clive,
Yeah.
and he comes off as this nice cuddly guy like, oh, Uncle Clive. Even when I interviewed Lou, um, Bow-legged Lou, he says, when they got successful with Backstreet Boys, they were allowed to finally meet Clive Davis, and he was like,
Allowed.
wow,
Okay.
he was like, wow, we saw the wizard, the great Clive. He gave us an
Hmm.
audience and say, okay, we've seen what you've done with Backstreet Boys. Let me see what you can do with NSYNC
Right.
and
Right.
stuff. So, but people like Jimmy Iovine, we always see him next to Dre, and Dre came up, I don't know who the Defiant One says that he asked Dre about coming up with an idea, and they came up with it together, the Beats by Dre, and he
Right.
finally has retired from music. Um, but people don't know about someone like Doug Morris, who was the head of Universal. Now he's the head of Sony,
Yes.
and
Hmm.
these are the people
Very powerful.
who
Hmm.
are very powerful, and they're thinking 10, 20, 50 years down the road when they're signing an artist. They're not thinking about, oh, you're going to go platinum or double platinum. That they're thinking
Right.
about
Long term.
long term. We squeeze the juice out of you, and we move on and stuff. That they
Ooh,
have investors. I mean,
that's
Sony
cold.
Sony Music is part of Sony conglomerate, Sony Entertainment and Sony Electronics. So the music industry and the part is a small part, but if they're not bringing their own, so they're thinking long term, and so they make the money. But then they give people like cash money millionaires. They give them a loan. Here's 100
Right.
million, and they're thinking, oh yeah, we've got all this cash and stuff. But oh, and we own our masters. No, but you don't pay up. We take it all back from you. The music industries are what China does to the rest of the world. Is they give you this a lot of money, and they know you
Okay.
can't pay it back, and then they said, well, we're going to take over your airports, and that's what China does. Um,
Right.
uh, uh,
But getting back to the fun part of it,
yeah,
so just think of the people you just asked me though, like
yeah.
Master P. Name one R&B artist on his label. Like there's none. Like there's no successes on No Limit. No
So no,
success.
well,
The
so
Cash Money does
okay.
have Jacquees, but that's it.
Oh,
Like
he's part of Cash Money.
he is. Suge, I mean, he had like several. Like he had Danny Boy. Danny Boy's album was never released.
Yeah.
Jewel, her album was never released, and she's angry about it. Like they're angry about it. Like I don't want to be an angry, disgruntled R&B singer in the midst of all
Yeah,
these
but
rappers.
but when we think of Death Row, we always think about the hip hop side. So I think that's where the money was.
Right.
So forget being an R&B singer, but thinking about being an artist. So even if maybe you're hip hop, I mean, thinking about just
Hip
sort of,
hop. Oh.
yeah. If so, that's what I'm
Oh.
saying. Being an artist and thinking
So
about a label that,
I think hip hop wise, I would probably go with. Mm, it depends on how confident I am with my hip hop. I mean, it's between Suge with Death Row or Cash Money. I think Cash Money would probably be a good one because a lot of their artists have been able to have longevity. So I think that the only thing about Death Row, like beyond maybe Snoop Dogg of course
Park.
Dre, but Dre was already big before he got to,
Mm.
Death Row, and Pac was already kind of established.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not a lot of artists from Death Row that have really had that longevity and had more than one successful album.
Mm.
So I would have to go with Cash Money, because you do have the Juveniles, you have the you have the Little Waynes and the others, So there are other successes, Drake, and other successes under that umbrella of Cash Money. So I would definitely go Cash Money, because
But what about
and then
no?
and they'll also give you a chance to catch on.
What
Some
about
some labels will just drop you once you're
what
flopping.
about
Go
No
ahead.
Limit though? Because most of his artists, even
Oh
though they
yeah,
haven't had 2 or 3 albums later on, I mean, they'll just drop in an album every year. So they May X and Fiend and all these guys were all releasing out. They may have 3 or 4 albums because they release 5 albums within 2 years and stuff. But one of the things, whether you watch the No Limit Chronicles and stuff, but the artist would tell you that the one thing he did is they got their own houses, so not like Death Row that gave you
Oh,
lease
okay.
you, but they
Come through
moved
with
in.
the perks and benefits.
Yeah,
Okay, so they give you a house.
they got this golf resort, so it's out of the hood, and here's your house in your name. He pushed them into setting up franchises. So Mia X is
Right.
talking about that she has 3 or 4 franchises, like KFC and McDonald's or something like that. And so
Okay.
even though the
All
music
right.
career was 5 6 years and stuff, they were able to come out of it and still have stuff going on. So he was very much, because he might not be as, so he was very much into how to get you guys set up and established and out
Right.
and continue that legacy. And
Well,
so
let me
he,
say this. He's Master P is very underrated when it comes to business. He's a great businessman. But didn't he push all them artists to the side when he got his son's rap career off the ground? All of a sudden, Little Romeo came out, and everybody else's album was on hold, and it was just all about Little Romeo. Like, I don't know. And I have an
yeah,
issue with the head of the company, which some people want to say something about Diddy, but hold on, give me a second. I have a problem with the head of the company being an artist themselves, because
Mhm.
they're gonna promote themselves over you, you know. So
Yeah, no. So
you
I
have to
think
compete with
I did
Master
enjoy
P.
watching the No Limit Chronicles, and I think one of the things that it
I'm gonna check
showed
that
was,
out.
yeah,
Mhm.
if it's one of the things it did show was the fact that when the sales were drying up, Romeo became the savior kind of thing because
Mm,
people would that became they couldn't get a hit from anyone. Even P himself retired,
right.
and so Romeo kind of thing, Little Romeo became the one where they got their hit, and that sort of revived the new No Limit, and they sort of
Yeah.
rolled on that. So it was more so a shift in the industry, and the others
Hmm.
decided, we want out because we've got a stable career. But as I said, it's the difference between watching Snoop talk about how he, everything that he had when he was on death row was either leased and it was owned by the company and they were allowed to live in them or drive the car. And then when he left, he had nothing. And then, goes to No
Right.
Limit, puts out 3 albums, had to change his name from Snoop Doggy Dogg to Snoop Dogg. He had to leave
Hmm.
his masters and his publishing and everything, and he was able to restart, rebuild a career, and then leave after his 3 album deal, and set up his own and be on his own pathway. So that was an opportunity that sort of worked out for him, and being taught about business because
Right.
when you've
Right.
been
Right.
signed as
Right.
a young person. So as I said, everyone's perception, about 90% of the people said they'd go to Master P just because they probably saw the Chronicles. They probably saw Snoop talk about how much P just took him from nothing to wait and reestablish him. But also all the other the only people who complained are the Beats by the Pound, who were his producers back then. They thought they deserved more. But he had
I
other
mean, if
ideas.
if you don't want the fame and you just want the money or the quick money, I guess yeah, that would be a good idea to go to No Limit. I think with Cash Money, you get the fame and the money. Um, And what can I say? I want fame too, a little bit, just a little bit of fame. I mean, the money is cool, but I want everybody to know I got it.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. No, I can understand why people went Master P. I do think, business wise, he probably would be the best one to go with. But I think most people who want to be star or want to be singers or rappers, they want fame. I just do. I don't think that I do believe they want fame more than anything else. I mean, they want money. That's a
Yeah.
big part of it too. But I think a lot of people, they claim that, oh, just like look at Jaheim, for example. We were talking about Jaheim and the
Yeah.
whole Jaheim versus Usher.
Yeah.
Something in his ego feels like he's on that level of Usher, but he just hasn't had the same push or the system or team. So as a person that's good at what you do, most people that are rappers or singers, there's
Mm.
a certain level of, pride behind what you do, and you want people to know about it. Like with No Limit, a lot of those artists, we don't see them anymore. We don't hear anything from them. They probably
Mm.
got their little catfish, restaurants and all of that stuff around, and barbecue joints.
Yeah.
That's cool, but you don't want to spit no rhymes no more. You don't want to be mentioning who will be in the versus battle. Mia X, you don't want to be in a versus battle
Yeah.
with Eve or Little
But
Kim. Like they don't even mention you, even though she's probably better lyrically than those artists.
yeah, but
But
they're 50. So you think about it, you know,
yeah,
you don't want to be dancing and singing and being on stage at 50 plus. You actually do want to be able
that's
to
true.
just to be able to retire
Well, I don't
because
know about y'all. I do, because I mean, I want to still be healthy and viable at 50. I want to
you know
still be doing what Maxwell is doing. Maxwell is almost 50.
yeah.
Or is
I
he? I don't
mean,
know how old he is. But
if you think
yeah,
about, say, the rock acts, you know, the Rolling Stones, they would come out, do a tour every 5 years, generate
hmm
150 million, stay retreat on their yachts, and then they come out like, okay, we need to pay the our alimony, so we need to do another big massive tour.
right.
Coldplay, they're saying they're going to have one more album, and then that's it. They're going to have a massive tour, and then that'll be it. They can afford to do that because they've all made 100 million plus. So it is not I mean, if you have family members, anyone that's in the music industry, to go and do interviews, promoting an album, going on tours, going to hotels, in different cities, to just to pay, to have a living. I don't know how many people. There's a joy of singing, and then there's the sense that, well, this is a business, and I need to manage the business side, and that's the way you need to look at El DeBarge had
Yeah,
put up a stuff saying, look, a promoter got me here to Austin and promoted that I'm here. I was going to perform, but when it came to sound check, they didn't do the sound check, and they didn't want to pay me. But everyone who's bought tickets assumed I'll be up there, and then they'll say due to
right.
technical difficulties, El doesn't be able to perform. So you have to deal with promoters and stuff. So I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the difference and just to wrap this up, that's
Yeah.
the difference with just look at the structure in the system that Black artists have to work within. That little chitlin, even whether it's the chitlin circuit or the certain areas that we do usually frequent in that tour line. Like, look at the system we have to work in. Everybody's always trying to steal from you. Everybody's
Mm,
always trying to trick you because they know a lot of us don't know the business,
yeah.
and it is what it is. And then a lot of times we don't know the background of these artists like Coldplay and Justin Bieber. We don't know that they're already rich. They might already be rich before they even get in the industry. Some of these people they have inherited, they have money, they already have money. So I mean, how can you compare? How can you compete with somebody that comes from a wealthy family? The uncle's a lawyer or attorney, or
Yeah.
this
Someone
person
like,
is,
yeah,
what I'm saying?
Dua Lipa, I think her dad was a surgeon or something like that, or a lawyer. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
it's like,
a lawyer. So
how
most,
can you
yeah.
compete with that? So if her career takes off, he has the money to make her career take off. And if it doesn't, she always got that cushion of going back to daddy's mansion and living with him. Like, so everybody don't have that, everybody don't have that luxury. But
Yeah.
guys, let us know what you think. Put your thoughts in the comment section and catch us on the next episode.
God. Thanks again for watching, guys.
And before we go, don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button.
Yeah. And also remember to turn on the notification so you can know when we have another show. But thanks again.
That too.